Right, so a customer brought in an HP Pavilion CS series with a bent screen. It's the machine. I don't know how well this is going to come across on the camera, but it's got a definite bend in it. Like I think it was in a backpack and it got some weight put down on there. So the screen is bent and broken. The LCD panel is broken, and the screen and touchpad are, she said the touchpad isn't working correctly. I turned it on and used it, and I had no issues with the touchpad, but I'm going to take it apart and see, in addition to replacing the LCD, I'm going to take the computer apart and see if I can identify any other issues inside. So it's really this corner. Autofocus isn't great, but, and then obviously the cracked panel needs to go. On this particular model, it looks like replacing the LCD panel involves basically tearing that glass panel off of the plastic, or the metal cover. It's plastic actually, because it's adhered with double-sided tape. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not going to take the panel off now because I don't have the replacement yet, but I am going to open the bottom of the case to see if I can identify what the issue is with the touchpad, or if there's any other damage inside. Yeah, and we're off. Okay. So the battery is not bent at all. That tweak is right where the hard drive SATA connector would be if there was one. There's an M.2 drive in here. It's not bent at all. I mean, the bend is here. I think it's okay, actually. This thing is so flimsy. Jeez. I'm going to call the customer and let them know what I found. All right, so I phoned the customer and she's happy to order the new screen, but she did say that the touchpad wasn't tapping correctly. So we're going to see what we can do about that. You know, it is. It's flat. It's feel like the frame is bent right there where the touchpad is mounted. So this is rather unusual. This touchpad is, obviously it has a fingerprint, finger sensor, or it can sense where you are in there, but there's no button on the touchpad itself. This is just a plate. And it must just deduce from the position of your finger when you click. Interesting. Okay. Because of how this works, it depends on the case being straight for this to work. So the bend in the case is the reason that it wasn't working properly, I think. That's my hypothesis. So I've straightened out the top frame, the palm rest, and I'm just going to put it back together. We'll wait for the new LCD panel to come, and that is going to be a fun project because this LCD is held in with double-sided tape. in addition to screws. So we shall see. That is the customer saying, okay, that's great, thank you. Because I told her that I couldn't find a replacement touchpad, but that I think we should be fine with this one, and if we're not, and we do end up replacing the touchpad in the future, I'll do that repair for free, since I could have done it now when I had this thing apart. I don't want to charge her twice for the same labor. Hopefully, that's the end of it. This computer, I just looked, when I Googled this computer's model number, you can get one of these brand new for $259, this exact model with the 128 gig M.2 solid state drive, 4 gigs of RAM, Windows 10 Home Edition. I don't even know what it's got. I think it's a Core i5. You know, perfectly adequate laptop, 15-inch LCD. It's got Bang & Olufsen speakers, so I guess it probably sounds good too. I don't know. Let's get this touchpad plugged back in. Spoke to the customer, ordered a new LCD, and it has arrived. So I'm going to put the back panel back onto the computer. Maybe I'll just snap it into place for now. Actually, no, this is so flimsy. I'm going to put the screws in as well. I want to make sure it has as much support as possible, even though this was really tricky to get off. I'd rather have it fully supported. When I'm banging away at the hinge or at the LCD. Okay. Two under that one under that one. Now the scary part. Taking this LCD panel base. So there is a double-sided tape holding this bezel on, which doesn't make sense. There are also clips, actually. I can feel clips coming off. I don't want to break the webcam. This just feels awful. I've seen videos of people doing this with a metal knife, and I can't imagine that. I mean, unless the panel is already broken, so you just don't care. Oh, this is... I don't know how this is going to stay on this computer once I'm done here. I feel like it's been taken off before. It was just glued back on. Because these side panels, there should be a clip there and a clip there. But there's not. There's not even a remnant. So go back to this corner here. See, this side comes off the same way. It does. There's no clip or anything. All right. This is just gross. There's got to be clips bottom down here. It just feels like it's still attached. I've got double-sided tape goo on my fingers. I'm gonna have to get all of this adhesive, the remnants of the double-sided tape off of here. Now for this. The videos I've seen show that this display, this LCD panel, is actually double-sided taped onto the back of this laptop. So we're about to find out. So where is the antenna wire? It's on this side over here, on the right side of the laptop. So I'm gonna go down here. Okay, I can see that it's loose. I'm gonna stop right here and say that what I did to remove this panel was wrong. I brute forced it. I pried and cut the tape and pried some more and cut some more and tried to warm up the tape, and it was excruciatingly difficult. And eventually I got the LCD panel removed, but I had to completely destroy it in that process. What I've subsequently learned is that you can pull the tape, you can stretch it. I've seen this stretch tape before in Apple products where there's a tab that you take your tweezers, you grab the tab and you twist, and it stretches the tape out. And that process of stretching it makes it thinner and releases it from the surface that it bonds. I didn't do that here, and it was a mistake. I did get the LCD panel out. I didn't damage the laptop, but it would have been impossible to remove a working LCD panel from that computer without breaking it that way. If I had done it the proper way by stretching the tape, then it would have been just fine. That's what led me to do my double-sided tape comparison video, where I found the tape that I would need in order to replicate that sort of behavior, to make tape very strong, to make a very strong bond, but also have it removable by stretching. So I'm fast forwarding the video behind me because I don't want you to see what I did to get that panel removed, and then we'll pick up where I left off. There's a piece of tape holding that connector. New screen. Who dis? I feel like this screen is only going to go in, oops, if I tip it up. I really want to be extra careful here. Sound you're hearing is just plastic film on the other side of this display. I'm not crunching anything together. I need to be really careful not to mangle that edge. It's a good sign, I suppose. Let me plug the battery in case it dies during this. Now for the double-sided tape part. I'm dreading this, actually. So I'm gonna lay that down in the lid. Open the lid a bit. I don't want to go too far because I don't want to put too much stress on the panel. No. Let's see how good this tape is, I guess. You can't see what I'm doing. I'm putting double-sided tape onto the back of the LCD. Just feels so wrong, but it's the way it's done on this model, I guess. And I have done double-sided tape on Apple products before. Just going to run 2 lines of double-sided tape up each side to match the width of the tape that had been here. This computer has not been a joy to work on. Many are. They're just, meant to be serviced. This computer with a 128 gigabyte SSD sells for like 255 pounds. So it wasn't meant to be serviced. It just wasn't meant to be taken apart and put back together. I am going to apply some double-sided tape to this bezel. Stick it in here. Now, is that plastic? I'm going to take off the plastic protective coating. I think actually I'm going to close this with the foam in here to try to put a little pressure on that screen. I might want to double check that it's working as well after that little pry. Ugh. Okay. Alrighty, let's see if we can make this work. What a mess I've made. Thank you. Okay, so I had a terrible time trying to get this bezel on while it was inside the computer. The lid has been bent, and so it didn't quite fit properly. So trying to shove the bezel down in between the laptop and the lid, couldn't get this to line up properly. So the corners weren't going down and snapping into place. So it just wasn't the same. I put it back together and then open and close it a bunch of times, see how we get on. Yeah, so that's where we are. Just lay some protective foam up here. really like to do this with it laying down, but I'm afraid to articulate the hinges independently. I had to turn on the flashlight to look for the little arrows on the hinge so that I knew which screw hole to use, because there are a few that look like they could be good candidates. I'm going to move this onto my mat, pull the mat toward me. Okay. Actually got a new anti-static mat that I'm going to put down, but it was in the middle of this when it came and I didn't want to stop. Everything looks good. Yeah, lovely. Okay. Just route my antenna wire. This back in. For some reason, I hate plugging these in. They just always feel wrong to me. It doesn't feel like it's making a good connection, but it is. It's fine. It's got a little bit of tape that holds it on that plug. That's good. So then on this side, I've got. Now I unplugged this. I'm not sure what this is. Oh, it might be part of the speaker system. I think it is. Yeah, it looks like an audio connector. I unplugged that because I wasn't sure. I thought maybe it was the webcam or something. But once I got a clearer picture of it, then I realized it wasn't part of the lid and it didn't need to be plugged in the first place. But that's okay, no harm. As long as I get it plugged back in safely. That's in. Now, the display. Has a little damage on it. It looks like I'm convinced that this computer has been taken apart before by somebody who was not very careful, because I've seen loads of evidence, broken retaining clips, and actually this adhesive was bent back. This is grounded onto this screw, and that adhesive grounding strap wasn't fastened. It was rolled back the way you see it here. So I'm going to try to put this back over the screw hole. Oh, okay. So on the back cover, under the rubber feet, on this side there were 2 screws, and on this side there's 1. So that explains that screw hole there. I just need to remember to watch that to make sure that it stays down between now and when I put the lid back on. This little laptop retails for $250 or $255, might have been $245. And it's not a bad PC, although it's Pentium Gold CPU. What even is that? It's got a vast antivirus. Not thrilled with that either. So it's a dual core Pentium processor. Fast Chrome. So the computer is just updating everything. I might let it sit here and update itself for a while. Take advantage of my internet connection. 1909. Okay, that's fine. 1903 reaches end of service in December. Less than a month now, December 8th. So I'm initiating the update to 20H2. Hopefully that goes smoothly. She didn't ask me to do this, but I often, when I get a chance, I often run Windows updates on people's computers. If I was very bold, I would uninstall Avast and let Microsoft Security take over, but I may just recommend that she does that because I don't want to be so presumptuous that she'd be happy for me to just remove her antivirus. All right, thank you for watching.